So I will start with XRP, and I'm going to start with a zoomed out look today. And you can see this is price action since the previous bottom here back in 2020 March. So now look at this support line here. Yeah, you can see the triangle, yeah, and you can see the support line along here. So we're going to look at this, and then equally is if you look at this channel here, we have this channel here, and then we have this support line down here as well. Yeah. So the question is just when we just look at it from high above, are we heading down for our final capitulation, or have we bottomed out here and potentially we're heading up to test this top of this channel again, 46 or 47 or so. Again, we'll have our sideways before it moves on up. Yeah. So now let's just have a look at just simple counts from this channel here. So look, it's this descending channel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So generally that would indicate that there would be a sixth. Generally that would, yeah. So now this is a strong support line here. So let's zoom in and have a look at what's going on. And I've put some of the main MAs. So this red line here is the 200 MA, and then this green line here is the 50 MA. This red line is the 200 SMA, and this green line is the 50 SMA. And this line here, what is this? Oh, that's the 300 SMA. I'm not sure why I have that there. And then the white and the blue here are the 20 EMA and the 55 EMA. And this is an EMA ribbon, yeah? So the reason why I put these on is because when these cross over, they're strong signals. Anytime any of these pairings cross over, they're strong signals. So that's what we're going to look at as we zoom in, yeah? So this is on the daily. So you can see the consolidation here is to follow the pattern that I've been talking about back here, which is the previous bottom, is it followed this here very closely. The present one did an extra day, and then we had a drop. So we had this candle and a drop. Now what was different is that where we are now is we had a small drop here where Bitcoin and Ethereum did that nice big drop, is XRP did this small drop, and now we seem to be on this retrace. Okay, and you can see is on this one you had the drop, and these are same but different pattern wise, yeah. So you can see that this just did a 382 lift, turnaround and spill, yeah. Where on the present one, it's after coming much higher up, yeah. So I'm going to go to it now, just to show you where I'm linking in. Now on the daily here, you can also see that when the white and blue EMA cross over here, is you can see that triggers this spill, and price action doesn't touch it until it bottoms out and comes back up, yeah. And the resistance here, you can see, is the 50 SMA. And the 200, what red in here, MA are, you can see they're the resistance point, yeah. So when I put it on the 12-hour, and I want to go back to it now. This is it here. Now on the 12-hour, because I'm going to relate them in a moment. So you can see in the 12-hour, again, you got the crossover here. If you got this consolidation, it tests the 20, gets the rejection, nearly hits the 20 here, another rejection. And again, when it does its full drop, then it starts to test the 20 here, and again breaks up through and does its thing, yeah. Okay, so now let's just have a look at where we are presently, yeah. So you can see that this where I just talked about, there was a strong support here, strong support here. Well, actually, it's set up this support here, but again, good breakthrough. So the question is, are we going to have a similar breakthrough, or is this going to hold support we've already bottomed out? Because you can have same but different, and then it changes. So for now, let's look at the similarities. There's the 200 MA again as resistance, and you can see it's been back tested a couple of times. So a drop, back test, rejection, didn't hit it there, back test again, rejection. Equally, the EMAs here crossed over, you're getting a spill down. Hasn't been touched closely. And I'd said previously, because of previous patterns, is that when you get the 50 SMA, when price action breaks below the 50 SMA, part of the test is that if it goes up and, the 50 SMA here, goes up and test this, and if we get a rejection, again, we'll be coming down stronger, yeah. So that's part of it, yeah. But now if we look at just where we are right now, is as an example of the potential lift up, if it's going to break up, because potentially we could be coming back up and testing here, yeah. Coming back up and to the 702 here, the 786, and again testing the 50 on the daily here, yeah. So that is potential, and that will be around 44.28. Again, might even get a little bit further, yeah. So what it would have to get through is it would have to break the 200. Equally, it would have to break through the 20, and is normally when you have a 20 EMA like this in the daily, the first time it gets tested, it fails. Never breaks it. So I would be amazed if price action got up this far and breaks the 20 on the first go. It never does it. It never does it. So I would be truly amazed if it broke through that and started heading up. But that's again, it's a possibility. And equally breaking through the 50, the 55 here, and the 50 SMA. So heading up there might take, if it was to do it, it would have to be again a back and forward situation going up, yeah. So it wouldn't be going up there. It wouldn't be going up there fast, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so now if we look at the 12-hour, is again, you can see the 200 here has been resistance. The 20 EMA here, again, you can see it's been tested a couple of times. So that makes me think, okay, it's been tested the third time. Again, there's only so many times it gets tested before you get a breakthrough. So I'm mindful of that. But then again, it's coming up and here's the 55. The chances of breaking the 55 in the first time, again, is a bit slim. Equally, here's the 50 breaking the 200 on the 12-hour. Now, if that was on the daily, that would be called a golden cross? Golden cross. I was calling Mihaela there, but she's not answering. Now, the 12 hours, it's not called the golden cross, but the fact is the 50 cross to 200 is a significant move. So an awful lot of pressure coming from the downside, yeah. But I'm pointing it out because this here is with regards to previous pattern is we got this drop. So again, we got our 3 days down, we got our 7 days up here, we got our drop, we got a second drop, and I was expecting this candle to drop to about 31 or so. Now Bitcoin did its lower low. Ethereum got a good drop in it, but XRP didn't. And then I said, okay, it'll come up for a couple of days, which it has, and now here we are. here we are on today's candle. So at the moment, on the previous pattern, if you remember, it only came up to a 382 and then turned and dropped. Where now we have this up at from this move here, yeah, we have it coming up to the 702 at the moment, yeah, and it may want to go a little further and touch the 786. It may even want to go up and test 100 or even the 20 again, yeah. But again, at what point, this is the question I'm asking now, at what point is the potential move down invalidated? So I think the answer to that would be on the daily if we start to see the 200 and the 20 EMA properly getting broken and we're starting to get price action move above, realistically here, moving above 41. So if we start to see price action getting above 41 is an establishing a base and starting to lift, is then I think the chances of a greater drop is not gone, but it's just not coming right now. So we got to see what's going to happen. Yeah. Excuse me. So now I think the potential for it to drop is actually there. I'd be really surprised if it doesn't. But I'm pointing out potentially this is where we start to break into an invalidation place. We start getting above this here. Start getting above this one here at 39.68, starting to break 41, and again breaking the 200 and the 20 on the EMA and the daily. Again, that would be a question mark for me, yeah. And equally then coming up and testing the 50 SMA in the daily and the 55, yeah. It may want to go up and do that, heading up to 42, and again that would be a strong. Short squeeze, yeah. But now if it did that, I wouldn't necessarily be expecting a greater drop. What I think would happen is here's the drop here, third spike, double top first drop, and it works its way up to mountain peak. So mountain peak, we get a drop back down for third drop, final peak, final bounce, and then potentially we find ourselves lifting out of it, yeah. And again, if that was the case, you can see that when we start breaking this line, we start breaking this white line here, then we're breaking this channel, this bear channel, and we'd be back into a bull market, yeah. So yeah, it would take its time, and sentiment in the market is a bit difficult to see how that could play out at the moment. So anyway, so that's that there. So now when I zoom in, is let's have a look at the other potential. If this is going to turn down, how can we see that play out? What needs to happen? Yeah. Okay, so if you look here, you can see that the range this has been moving in, but at the moment is this previous consolidation range. Remember, 38.20 was the resistance, and at the moment you can see price action has come up to 38.20. So that resistance line of this whole consolidation, now price action is after coming back up and touching the resistance line of this previous range, yeah. So we got to see how it behaves there, yeah. So that's one thing. Is with this drop, as I said, it's come up and touched the 702. That might be it, possibly a 786. So if it's going to turn, what we need to see is, obviously we need to see it turn down. If it turns down, I'd be looking for it to go at least to break this bottom here, yeah, and go to about somewhere below 31, 31 to 30. Now that would be setting up a 1, 2, 3, and then a final bottom like this would be setting up a Wyckoff accumulation. That might be the bottom, and then you get the lift, and that's what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin the other day, it broke just slightly below the previous low, and then it's heading up at the moment. So that's setting up a Wyckoff accumulation pattern and a lift. XRP hasn't done that yet. Again, if we've got this lower low at 28.65 and then it wants to head on up, that will be the case, yeah. Now you got to also remember as well that when we get full capitulation, everything is going to look like it's going to turn and head up until it isn't. So that's also part of the play here, yeah. So we got to be mindful of that. Okay, so now let's go in a little closer, and here's my channels chart. Again, here this red one is the 4-hour support and resistance lines. The white lines are the 1 hour. So again, you can see the testing the 3820. That's a 4-hour support. Again, if it gets a rejection, is coming down, and I reckon it breaking again below this and coming down and finding support at 30 or so, somewhere in this range. For again, if 28.65 is the bottom here, and this is just doing a Wyckoff accumulation for a lift up, is that would make sense, yeah. If it's going for a bigger dump, I think it's going to hit down here, we might get a little lift and then continuation down, yeah. So that's what I would be mindful of as well. So that's that one there. Okay, I could say other things there, but I'll just keep going. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about this first. Okay, so this is the RSI, yeah. So top left 5, 15, half hour, hour, 2 hour, 3, 4, and then the daily. Okay, so you can see on all the way up to the 2 hour there is a bearish divergence, yeah. So there's a strong push for the down at the moment. So let's see now if it builds into the 3 and the 4 hour, or is the 2 hour enough to turn it down? We may need to see it on the 3 hour and the 4 hour, but you can see it looks like it's getting closer and closer to topping out. However, it depends on the market makers and how much they want to push it. They might just want to keep pushing. So we'll look at who's driving the market at the moment when we look at the EMAs, yeah. So now here, back on the EMAs, I showed you the daily earlier. So remember the daily. So now here's an interesting one. You see on the daily here, see when it crossed over here? When it crossed over, it gave a 58% pump. From the bottom here, it actually was a 79, nearly 80% pump. So now here we have a crossing over here again, yeah? And again, we're getting the spill. And so far from the crossing over point, it has dropped pretty much 30%. If it wanted to go to 58%, there we are down at 1872. So big drop. So normally what happens here on the EMAs, and I'm going to say that the trigger was really the 12 hour. And what I mean by that is that when you see where price action actually starts to spill, it's the MA that's on it is the trigger. So I know the daily is close, but look, here's this spill here. It's not on it. The 12-hour is on it. So generally that's the trigger point. And the reason why I'm pointing this out is because normal pattern is you get the first spill, and then what happens is you get a back test, and generally it back tests to the 55. You get a test to the 55, and if it gets a rejection off the 55, then it goes down for another leg. And obviously, if it doesn't, it heads on up. But generally, it back tests to the 55. Yeah, so it hasn't done that yet. So potentially, it's one of the things I'm watching for is that it comes up, and I might want to test the 55 here. And again, you can see the top of this. As much as the resistance line is here because of these lifts, yeah. Might even pull it down a little bit more, yeah. There's still this candle here. So it's possible that we could get a lift. It wants to continue and back test that 55 on the 12-hour because that's where the trigger was, yeah. So I might want to do that before it gets rejected. So I'm mindful of that as well. 40, and that would take it up to, and at the moment it's at 40.32. But now, let's say it took 2 days or a day or two to get up there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like if it took 4 days or 2 days to get up there, it's bringing it down to 39.94. We're bringing it down to around 40 or so. You get what I'm saying? So that would keep it potentially within this basic range, yeah. So that might be the case. If it wants to keep going, that'll be another one that I'd be looking at again before we get that capitulation and then down a dump, yeah. Now that would fit in. That would fit in with the previous pattern. And I know I'm taking my time here, and I think it's worth taking the time, yeah. Now where it would fit in, it would actually fit in more with this part of the cycle, okay, where you can see the top, you know, you can see the play here, and then look, it comes up one last time, it hits this, and then turns around and does a drop, yeah. So it would fit more in with here, rather than here, yeah. So, but you can see the point I'm making, yeah. So the same but different. Okay, so let's now zoom in. Actually, no, I'm going to zoom out for a sec. Let's have a look at the weekly. So the weekly, again, look, we had same. Now this is very interesting. Look, here's the cross, the trigger on the weekly, the drop. Here's the back test of the 55, and here's the rejection, and we're heading down. So now on the weekly, this is suggesting that we're coming for it's already been rejected and it's heading down, yeah. So there's that one. If it wanted to come back up and test the 20 again, that would be 42.25. Maybe it wants to go up there. Again, you can see what I'm pointing at, yeah. If I go to the 2 week, the reason why I'm doing the 2 week is because, again, look, there's the crossover here, and it's in the middle of the space, but the crossover. But look at the rejection here. So there's been a strong rejection here, yeah. So anyway, so that's I'm just pointing that out. Okay, so let's now zoom in to the 4 hour. Let's see what's going on the 4 hour. Okay. So at the moment on the 4 hour is again, you can see is it come up and there was a rejection here. Now it's back up and it's testing it's even broken the 55, and at the moment we have a candle pushing back on the 55 here, yeah. So let's see what this wants to do. Yeah. So you can see that there. If you go to the 1 hour, as you can see again, the 1 hour crossed over here. So the thing about this is that this is where the bottom is. Is you see the 1 hour crossing over here is price action is already well on its way. So what was the trigger that lifted this? Okay, again you see the 15 here, 15 there. So now the question is with this here is, can we see, will the 15 break here? Yeah, for the retrace back down. Yeah. So now I've gone to the 5 minute. You can see the 5 minute tested it there. Rejection there, has broken it again here at the moment. The question is can price action and the 20 here start to break the VWAP and get the turn, get the drop? Yeah. What we would really need to see is, for a proper move down, is for the 15, the white across the 55 on the 15 here. We'd really need to see that move proper. As you can see, it got rejected here. So let's see if we can do it here. Yeah. So for the reversal is, I'd be looking for a solid confirmation on this. Yeah. Okay. So now this is this stock. Now this is a very interesting one, because I'm going to go to the daily first. This is the daily, bottom right, and this was in the doldrums down here for days. It wasn't going up very far, and the last day or two it's just shot up. So all the stock on there's the daily is, when I go to the, actually I'll talk to this. Now I'll go to, here's the 5 minute here. Here's the 15. Okay, this needs a reset up. Here's the half hour. Here's the hour. Now, what was interesting is, for the small amount of price action that's lifted so far, because it's not a very big move, is the 2 day has reset, or the 2 hour, the 3 hour has reset, and the 4 hour. Look at the 4 hour is back in the overbought. And price action hasn't moved very much. I know it's coming up, but it hasn't been a big move. But yet the 4 hour gets reset to the top. But even more so, we're still looking at this box here. Here's the 6 hour nearly back at the top. For such a small amount of price action movement, here's the 8 hour. They're all racing back to the top. There's the 9 hour, the 10 hour. Again, these just touch the bottom and they're flying up. And then here's the 12 hour. 12 hour is already up and on the way down. Yeah. So on the stocks, all the stocks are resetting themselves back to the top, and they're doing it very fast with a very small amount of price action. And then the daily, which has been sitting here for days, not really moving very much, all of a sudden in the last day or so, just decides to go to the top very fast. Yeah. Excuse me. So yeah. So really, what I'm trying to say is they've reset themselves for a move down. Yeah. Okay. So now here we are on the MAs. Yeah. So I'll go to what has turned. The 2 day turned yesterday. So the 2 day turned yesterday, and the VWAP is solidly up. Okay. The 5 on the 2 day 5 MA here is slightly down, even though price action has gone up. The 5 actually is slightly down, which does make a difference. Yeah. Equally, the 10 here, blue one, has broken the 100 MA, and again is coming down like a hammer. So, and that at the moment is at 38.81. So again, it's the same thing. Is if this was a 5 minute pattern, or an hour, 2 day, it doesn't really matter. Is you can see that the 5 is trying to turn. It's struggling to do it. Even here is a little dip down, and the 10 is coming down very strongly. Is potentially, this is looking like a push down. That in 2 days time, when this 10 comes down, unless price action has significantly got up and is able to really get strength underneath this 5, is the 10 is going to come down and apply a lot of pressure. That's generally what I'd be looking at. This is more of a potential spill than a lift. But again, the VWAP here is the one, and the VWAP is the market makers. You know, anytime you see the VWAP leading, it's generally the market makers leading the move. Yeah. So that's the 2 day. But for sure, it can get support. So we're going to look at where that support can come from on the daily and then on the hourlies. Yeah, we'll see if that support is there. Yeah, because on the dailies, it's not really there. Like here's the 3 day. Look, there's the 5 pushing down. There's the VWAP pushing down. But yeah, price action is coming up. Yeah. Now that's going to turn tomorrow. Look, there's the 4 day, 5 is coming down. The 50 on the 4 day is coming down. A lot of pressure. There's the 5 that turned the other day. Look, here's the 5 breaking the 20s, coming down really strong. Big move on the 5. And again, the VWAP was down, it's a little bit up, or level even. So you get what I'm saying about the pressure, yeah. Same with the 6 day. Look, the 6 day is a lot of pressure coming down, even though price action is going up. Now the one that I found interesting here is for the weekly, is the stock. The stock on the weekly is coming down very strongly now. I'll show you now. Bottom right here, this is the stock on the weekly. So it's coming down very strongly. Yeah. I'll actually show you. I'll show you the RSIs as well. Yeah. This is the daily RSI, bottom right. And you can, or I'll show it, where will I show it? Where is it? Sorry for a second. Okay, here. This one's easier. And let me just do this. I'll put it here, yeah. And I'll go on to the daily. Here we go. I don't know why they're all there. So on the daily is a general pattern on the daily is that you can see it came from the top, it hit the bottom. Is you can see on the daily, when the daily hits the bottom, it likes to do a bullish divergence. So you can see, look, breaks the bottom here, comes back up, comes back down again, and then this is a bullish divergence. Price action goes deeper, but yet the RSI doesn't. It did go deeper here. This was a nasty one. Okay, and again, it looked the same here. Bottom that came back up, dropped down again. Yeah. So now look, it's only come down once here. So on the daily, for me, that's telling me here that this is going to come back down again, and that it potentially is going to set up a bullish divergence, which basically means that the RSI will fall short of this, but price action will go deeper than before. Yeah. And when I look at the 2 day. The 2 day RSI is, look at the 2 day. There it is at the top, and it hasn't bottomed yet. So the 2 day actually hasn't come back to the bottom yet. So I expect the 2 day to at least come back to the bottom. Yeah, and you can see as a pattern goes, it always comes back to the bottom. Hasn't come back to the bottom yet. So that's telling me that we're due a visit there. Yeah. So that was done. Just thought I'd point that out to you. There. Set this back to 5 minutes. Okay, so now, okay, so here we are back on the MAs. Okay, so this is the weekly. So the VWAP on the weekly is turned up. So this is why there's a lot of lift support here for the weekly. So while the stock on the weekly, stock RSI is coming down, the RSI is even coming down. The effective VWAP is turned up. So to me, it looks like the market makers are holding it in place. You know, they're holding it there. That's what it looks like to me. So now, when I zoom into the daily, okay. So just to 5-second reminder. Remember the 2-day, the 10 is coming down, breaking the 100. The 5 here is, I suppose it's level at the moment, but the VWAP is up. So I'm going to look at to see as we go through the hours is what's that type of support playing out there. Yeah. So on the daily, as you can see, again, here's the 200. Remember we talked about this and the 20 EMA coming down, but also here's the 20 MA coming down. Now that's coming down pretty strong. That is coming down pretty strong. So if it wants to go up and start to test these here, it also is going to have to get past the 20 and also the Bollinger Band here. Not an easy thing to do on the first try. Doesn't really, on the first try, there's no way it's going to get past that. It'll have to come back down to have another go. So, but where we are right now on price action is, look, here's the 5. So the 5 is down, but again, it's support at the moment here. That's what it looks like. The 10 is pushing up, okay, and the VWAP is pushing up. Now this is on the daily. Now look, we've had our lift. Remember our lift? Here we go, and again, it may be happy to top out with the 702, possibly goes up to the 786. You know, it might want to even go up and test the 200 or the 20 here if it really wanted to go for it, yeah. But then after that is, I would expect that that's going to get a knockdown. It's gonna, if this isn't the reversal now, is for sure it's going to get a knockback there, yeah. Don't know how much, but it's definitely going to get a knockback. And we zoom in closer to the 12-hour. Is again, look at the 5 on the 12-hour. Now that's a solid turn on the 5 and 12 hours. So that's a solid indication for a lift. But you can see the VWAP. It's not the 5 that's doing this lift. It's the VWAP. The VWAP's really pushing, yeah. So, and you can see that the 20 and the 10 are underneath it for support. Here's the medial line here of the Bollinger Bands. Again, it's gotten above that. It's back testing it at the moment. So to be honest, that's shown good support. You remember on the EMAs, the 20, it got tested, it's testing it again. So now will we get another rejection candle here, or will it break through and start to push up a little bit more? Yeah, and there's the Bollinger on the 12-hour. So if it holds this medial line, it potentially is coming up to test the Bollinger at the top here. Again, it's back up to 39.41 or so, yeah. And then this line here, I think that's like 1,000 MA or something. 400 MA. There's a 400 MA. And again, I leave these in because price action often goes through at times, yeah. But then equally, on the 12-hour, remember, we have the 50 crossing the 200 here. And again, here's the 55. So again, these are solid resistances if it gets up that far, yeah. So now let's go in a little closer. My time, it is 4 minutes to 1 o'clock. It's an hour to the 12-hour turning. So what turned last? The 10-hour turned last. So if you look at the VWAP, is every time the VWAP turns, it's gone sideways at the moment. So I'd expect the 12-hour to go sideways, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually going to turn and become resistance. At the moment, it looks like it's been a bit of a support here. And you can see now, this is one of the things that I was watching for on the 10-hour. Here, look how strong the 50 on the 10-hour is coming down now. So this is good, like this just decided to drop down. So now here you can see it's wicked to the 50 on the 10-hour. This is a strong one to break. So it'll be interesting. I'd be surprised if it breaks it. It might get a wick through and get up and hit that 786, but not necessarily break it proper. Yeah, there might be, again, it might be that wick through if it wants to hit the 786. But we'll see. Look at the support it has. Look at the 5 is coming up, following up. The 10 is underneath. Here's the medial line broken and got support from it. Here's the 20s underneath. So in the 10-hour at the moment looks like a lot of support. But again, it can be smashed down pretty fast if this 5 wants to take a turn. We'll see. We'll see. So that's playing out. That's playing out there. Now that same 50 on the 9-hour is also, you can see there's the 50 on the 9-hour. Again, here's the VWAP going sideways. Here's the 5 coming up. And what I'm looking for is I need to start to see the 5 turn. We need to, for this to actually be the top, somewhere along the way these 5s need to start turning. So here's the 8 hour, again there's the 50 on the 8 hour. Here's the 5 coming up. The 10, now this is quite interesting. See that on the 8 hour, the 10 is continuing down. So the 10 got broken here, and then the last 3 8 hours, so that's the last, well this one isn't a solid 8 hours, 16 hours, there's nearly 24 hours, and the 10 here is still going down, hasn't turned up. And that's a little bit of a surprise. You would imagine that it would, you know, although it was support here. But anyway, it's telling. The 6 hour, again you can see it wicked up very close to the 55 EMA on the 6 hour. Now see the 6 hour, that would have, the VWAP there would have gone sideways at the start, but now look, you can see it's still lifting. So look, it looks more like the VWAP is pushing this on the 6 hour. But you can see the 5 is still coming up, and again the 5 is starting to break through the 50 and the 20 here. So from the point of view of a pump, is this 5 MA breaking through the 50 and the 20 here? And that's a good sign for a pump. Having said that as well, is that it's touching the Bollinger Band, or very close to it, and also the 55 here. So we'll see where it wants to go. I'm still looking for, are we going to get a 5 that's going to turn and give us a nice solid turn? So here's the 4 hour. Again, you can see it's double topping at the moment. It's the 100 MA on the 4 hour. And here's the 5 and the VWAP turning a little bit, but still not proper. We need to see a proper turn. Okay, so I'll speed it up a little bit more now. There's 3. Same thing. You see the 5. The 5's coming over a little bit, but look at this 10 is coming up very strongly. So now on the 2 hour, same thing. Look at that 2 hour. Look at that 5 wanting to keep going. Yeah. Now, interestingly as well is that it's coming to the 200 MA on the 2 hour. Yeah, and you can see there's quite a lot of a consolidation going on underneath here. So the question is this at the top, or are we going to get a break on through? So now here is the 1 hour. And again, it's already broken the 200 on the 1 hour. You can see how it was trying to break it here, got up, dropped back to the 50 SMA here, and the 20 as well, dropped back to the 20 MA. And again, look, here it is coming up again. And again, you can see the 20 is support. So what we would really need to see is the 5 MA finally turn, the 10 MA finally turn, both turn together. Is they take a nice spill down, and then the VWAP and the 20 decide to go with it. So that's really what we're looking for. But at the moment, these guys look like they want to keep, look at the 5 and 10, they look like they want to keep pushing up at the moment, yeah. So not getting our turn there, not at the moment anyway. And then here's the half hour. I could drag it out, but I'm not going to drag it out. Is now, here's one of the things that's interesting, and I'm nearly done. Is you see bottom right down here, second one, is here's the stock. So you can see on the 1 hour is price action got up here, dropped. So now here's a look how much this is lifted, but the stock hasn't come up very far. And again, it looks like the stock is trying to find a way down again. Yeah. Bottom left is the RSI, and you can see the bearish divergence. There's the 2 hour. Again, little bearish divergence in there. So basically what's happening is that you can see price action is pushing up, but yet the RSI is coming down lower. Yeah. So possibly we might need to see that on the 3 hour or the 4 hour before it finally tops. I don't know. You just have to watch it. So now, what am I looking for? For a short entry. Potentially, now this is on the 1 hour. This is the 200 SMA in the 1 hour. If we put this fib on it here, potentially we could be looking at a touch of the 200 SMA on the 1 hour before this finally plays itself out. Okay, and that would also be getting the 786. So what I'd be looking for an entry is, let's just say it hits here, and again it will create a 1-2, so it will create some rejection point, and once it turns and starts to come back up, that's where I'll be looking for my range. Yeah, now this is just me giving you an idea. Yeah, so on the short down is you get topping out here and you get a drop of a few hourly candles and then it starts to come back up, is putting the fib on it and then looking for that 702 as a short entry, and then just putting the stop loss just above where a tenth of a cent above where it topped out. So that's what I'll be looking for. Yeah. Now if this decided to take a drop down here, is potentially this could be offering us the same opportunity. Yeah. But as I look at the price action as it is it may need on the hourly may need a little bit more of a blow off top, so that you get a candle up here and create a bit of space for the 5 and 10 to finally take a turn. Possibly. When I look down here on the MACD is already crossed over, but there may be just a blow off top on the hourly, and then down it comes. Yeah. Did that hour turn? It did turn. Okay. So now, yeah, there's that hour just turned a couple of minutes ago. So you can see the 5 is crossing down again. You can see they're trying to turn. Yeah. Oh, sorry, that's on the half hour. My apologies. On the hour. Okay. On the hour, yeah, you can look there. The 5's turned a little bit, but you can see, look, while the 5 turns a little bit, the 10's gone up. When the 5 comes down, the 10's pushing up. When the 10 tries to turn it, the 5's pushing up. So you can see it's really playing along here. It may want to do a wick up. It may want to do a wick up. Before it has a blow off. Yeah, it may want to head up to this is the 377 EMA, and this is the 200. Yeah, there's the 200 SMA. Yeah, it may want to blow off top up to there. Yeah. The one I'll be looking for now is the 12 hour is going to turn soon. So now this is the last thing I'm going to say. Here's the 12 hour. You can see the 20 EMA is holding quite a bit. Is the VWAP's going to turn, and we got to see if it wants to do one last push up. So maybe there might be one last push up and then it turns. Yeah. So that's what I'm watching for. Okay, so I know that all got drawn out, but I needed to go through it because I wasn't expecting this to come up as much as it has. So I wanted to just explain everything that was my thought process, what I'm looking at, what I'm paying attention to on the macro and the micro, and I still think the drop is in. I think it's set up for it. But again, market makers can do, when they choose to send it in a direction, it doesn't really matter what the indicators say. They can just move it whatever way they want. But as it stands, it looks to me like the drop is still being set up. There's just way too many things above coming down that are really strong, that price action needs to create space, and in that space it can get a better turn. So that's what it looks like. Looks like to me, yeah. But we got to see how it plays out. So that's it. So invalidation is if it starts to break above 41, if it starts to break above 42, is then it looks like we're going to be heading up to potentially between 45 to 47, yeah, before we get a pullback down. Outside of that is we'll be looking for a rejection on around the 786, looking for a rejection at the 200 SMA, potentially around 38, 39. See a turn down at a minimum is seeing a break below here for below 31, so somewhere between 30 and 31, which would set up the Wyckoff accumulation pattern for a lift. But then equally is if I wanted to do a greater capitulation, is then we'd have probably a little lift and then it turns and it just drops like a lead balloon. So they're the plays that I'm looking at. Yeah, I do believe that the drop is more imminent than the lift, but we'll see. We'll see what the market makers want to do. Okay, so that's me. That's me today. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll post as we're going along. And I'll hand you over to Mihaela now.
Okay, so let's see where we are today, guys. Today we are now in terms of swings, we are where we should be. In terms of the range of the swings, we have gone past what I expected yesterday. So it's Bitcoin did an approximately 3% extra lift from the 20 EMA on the 4-hour. Haven't checked Ethereum's in percentages, but it went past it. But in terms of the swings, we've done a recovery swing, a breather. We've taken a breather from the drop. The trend down is not invalidated in any way, shape, or form. And if I look at the DXY, which is what I started yesterday's presentation with, it has made that 4-hour recovery that I expected it to. So the 4-hour stochastic was at the top, and it had been so for a week, and it took a breather, came all the way down in that space of a day. Now, we need to see this, the 4-hour stochastic, retrace upwards back into the normal range box, and then we'll know that we are going upwards with the DXY and downwards with crypto, because I imagine you are in a short trade position right now. If you're in a long trade position, I would be watching to take profits or securing profits with a stop loss, because I think this lift is temporary. So here is the stochastic on the 4-hour at the bottom. On the day, it is still going up. So the trend on the day for the DXY is up. We have a range of bullish divergences here. Both the stochastic and the regular RSI have reset to the bottom. I would have liked a better reset here of the regular RSI, but if we look back, if we backtest, but that's just my crypto trading eye, if we look back, we'll see that the DXY can go up multiple times without that reset. So it doesn't have to go all the way down. So it's necessary to do that backtest to see what the behavior is. So the trend on the daily is up. Once that 4-hour rehabilitates to the upside for the DXY, I don't see anything stopping the DXY from reaching the 20 on the daily. And that would be, again, I know I've said it, a third leg down for Bitcoin and Ethereum. I have posted this already for Bitcoin. I've yet to add a couple of things for Ethereum. I have redone the 15-minute arc, and there we go, because I was a little bit stuck in terms of the volatility of our of these swings, and I was having a hard time mapping everything with the current volatility. So here is the 15-minute arc. The mountain peak range is this. If this is resistance peak, or this is resistance peak, we still have a little bit of space to go, or this might have been it, because we've reached if you look at the structure on the left, we have reached where this drop started, where it back tested the the 50. So this is where it backtested the 50 on the 15-minute and then started coming down. It made a W formation, a reversal, and here we are back. So if you look at it technically, this is a perfect W pattern. Again, great to trade, but I'd say very dangerous to trade along right now, considering last week we've done a 24% drop in a day. So until the fundamentals are sorted, I choose to go with the trend and look for peaks to follow down. So this is it. Or until the waters seem to settle a little bit, because it is, I was just talking to Roy there, we haven't heard back from Genesis starting withdrawals and surviving that first wave of people withdrawing their funds, or institutions, whichever investors they have. Anyway, so technically we are in the space of the 15-minute arc. We haven't broken out. Where are we on the MAs on the 1 hour? On the 1 hour, we're holding a really beautiful support, and the 5 and the 10 are going upwards. They seem to not want to stop anytime soon, except for a few things that I have already posted. We have a bearish divergence on both volume and the RSI. That's not gonna go unnoticed. It means that momentum is going to slow down. It's going to decrease to the upside. That will give us a correction. So to clarify where I stand on my on the move today, this swing for Bitcoin was an 8.2% swing. It hasn't had its correction yet. If we look at it on the 1 hour, if it's done a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's done a 3 steps up, reached the edge of the initial drop. Happy days, the initial drop in this consolidation. And from here onwards, what we're looking to see is a correction. Where that correction is gonna stop will tell us if we're gonna continue upwards or if we're gonna continue downwards. If that correction is going to be a shallow 382 or 05 correction, that holding the 55 EMA on the 1 hour, or holding the support line here at 16K, if that correction is going to be a shallow one, then we'll probably continue upwards. We have the 17, this is where my entry point is, 17 on 100. So we have this line to get through, and from then onwards continue up to the 19K level 1 area. I don't believe that's going to happen. I still believe that we're going to come down from where we are now. I think the 1 hour shows that topping out of momentum, and what we need to see is how the correction is going to happen. Now we have news today. The first piece of news is at 2:45 UK time, which is the start of New York. 2:30 is the start of New York. 2:45 is the start of the session. So typical start of the session volatility is expected. And then we have another piece of news, very important, the FOMC meeting minutes with the rates, and that will be at 7 p.m. So today we're expecting that a lot of volatility. It could go both ways. Can it hit the 17K here and then move down? Absolutely. I don't think this consolidation is complete. I think we only have 1, 2, 3, 4. We need a 5 and a 6 swing in this. I rarely see consolidations lasting so little, like only 2 swings up and 2 swings down. But again, that might happen. If we look at this on the 1 hour, this could be a 1 hour arc, and this could be the final peak. Now the only thing about it is the double top is quite high, and I don't have a mountain peak here. So again, I don't think this is the case. So that's where Bitcoin is. On the daily levels, we have, let me change to the daily. On the daily levels, we haven't got to any major MA on the daily. We're not talking about a reversal. 17,300 is the 20 EMA on the daily. And if we do get to hold the 17,300, then yes, the narrative changes and we are looking at moving upwards. Again, I am mindful of not being influenced by what's going on right now, because I know it looks super. We have this lift 8.3 yesterday and today, these 2 days, 6%. It's good to see some green in the charts, because you know price action is kept afloat, but to me it just looks as a bull trap. So I would be very careful longing this. It could continue upwards. Again, it's a matter of where the market makers want to take it. I don't believe that we've had a capitulation. I think we've had multiple relief rallies. This was a relief rally. This was a relief rally. They didn't manage to break the divergence line. And I think we need another push down to lift up. So that push down to the next level at around 13.5 or at around 10K, even 8K would be it. In tomorrow's session, which is going to be a little bit longer, when we're going to talk about the weekend levels, and we're going to have today's information as well. I'm gonna show you the previous liquidity vectors that should be recovered. Again, market makers rarely push liquidity into the market and not get it back. It's up to them when they get it back. But again, they should be getting it back, and if they don't get it now, then when? So yeah, we have to see what the news is going to be today in the economic context, and then in the crypto context, Genesis and everything else that's happening in the space. So just to round it off, I believe that Bitcoin might still be pushing a little bit higher. It still has space to go higher, but without invalidating the downtrend. Once it breaks the 17.3 and it holds it, then we're looking at holding the 20 EMA, and then the narrative changes, and the bigger level to break would be the 19K. So we're talking about big levels here, because we need to get out of this pit here. But I do believe that we won't get out until we drop down, we gather more strength there, and we move upwards from then onwards into accumulation. So that's what I believe. I do think that this is a very enticing trap for longs. If you look at this we've had our 3 strikes to the high from the market makers on the vector candles. That I don't want to spend too long about it, because I have yet to see. So we've had the first strike, second strike, third strike, 3 big green candles, and these green candles are designed to entice the market into putting longs in. So they push this liquidity, and then the market starts buying in. And who's the one selling here? It's the market maker selling at a premium. So that's how they stimulate the market, for them to sell at a higher price. I know it's not adversarial, it's just how it works. So we have a bearish divergence on the 1 hour on both volume and RSI. I believe momentum will slow down. We need to see the breaking of the daily open and the pivot point, which is the 0.5 of this wave. And once the pivot point and the daily open break, the daily open is the 382. Look how perfect it is with the indicator, and the pivot point is the 0.5. Once these two break, then we're going to have probably a full correction down to the 786 of this swing, and it's up to you if you want to take some profits there. I would be taking some profits there and then leaving a little bit in for a lower low, DCAing on the other side of the drop. So just to make sure this is not going to do another swing up, because we've had 7 swings in the previous consolidation. We've just completed 2 here, so you can imagine that this could drag on if the market makers want to. Again, we should see this correction. We should see at least the daily open or the pivot point on the daily being back tested. For Ethereum, we have a similar situation. Again, we have the we have gone a little bit higher than expected. The 4-hour 20 EMA is holding for support at the moment. The stochastic is at the top. The volume on the 4-hour is coming down, so you can see these 3 green candles up, but the volume is actually coming down, which is a volume divergence on the 4-hour. At the moment on the 4-hour, we don't have an RSI divergence, but we do have it on the 1-hour. So here it is. Between the 2 peaks, here's on the stochastic, here's on the regular RSI. Line is a little bit off, but there it is. You can see it, descending momentum to the downside, and also the descending volume here. I don't know how to make this volume indicator a little bit bigger for some reason. Visibility, seconds. I'll have a look at it. That has always been my issue. I don't know why it stays so low and so small. But anyways, this is where Ethereum is. It has back tested the previous level. So what I know about Ethereum is that it loves the arc structure, double top, higher high, coming down to the next level. It loves to do that. I've seen it do that multiple times. Double top, mountain peak, coming down to the next level. Here as well, double top, drop, mountain peak, drop again. So it loves this arc structure. This is still within the space of the arc. I don't know if I have the 15-minute. I don't have the 15-minute arc here, but I will be posting it on the chat. This is still within the space of the arc. As we are, let me just, I'll put a 15-minute arc pattern here so that you see it. So this would be double top, this would be mountain peak, and here would be skyline, and here would be resistance peak. So we are right, again, I think this is resistance peak, and I think this is mid-range high. So resistance peak and where we are right now on Ethereum are just the same level. So we are within the space. We're not outside of the space. I know it looks like it's gonna pump. It has to look like this for the orders to collect and for retail to buy in. Or so again, we need to correct the swing. If this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we need to correct it before moving up. If I am to put a retracement fib on this, if I'm to put a retracement fib on this, again we have a beautiful confluence between the daily open at 382 at around 1140, and the pivot point is between the 0.5 and the golden pocket. So I expect these two to be back tested before moving further. These two should be back tested before going up further on the day. We are already at the M4. Generally, once we reach the M4, we have the rejection here. The reversal vector here. We had a reversal vector here as well that didn't play out. This is where I figured it's gonna reverse, but now they did another pump up, collecting some more liquidity. So here is where it is. We are in a typical breakout zone volatility. So again, I prefer to keep my short positions open and DCA on these retracements rather than long, because again the market can flip and it can do a massive drop. So I find it a little riskier to go against this trend where we are right now. I'll show you what I mean. This is a 5% drop in 3 hours. So, sorry, 4 hours. So this is what can happen where we are right now. So I'd rather go with the trend, which is down than against it. Again, to sum it all up for Ethereum, we are backtesting a previous level of support and resistance. We have to see what this correction of the current swing will bring us. If we're holding the support, at 11:30, then I believe we might see some more continuation to the upside. That would be a shallow 0.5 correction. Ethereum does shallow corrections at 382 or 0.5 when it wants to continue upwards. There is divergence on both volume and RSI on the 1 hour, similarly to Bitcoin, and I think momentum is slowing down. We have to watch for the news today, 7 o'clock and 2:45 UK time, because that's when volatility will probably kick in. I'll be posting the rest of the ETH TA on the chats. Trade carefully, and let me know if you have any questions in the chat. Have a good day, guys.